BookTube, it's Louise, the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day. I'm here with my wrap-up of BookTubeAthon. Woohoo! I did actually manage to take part in BookTubeAthon, and I did the whole 7 days, and I managed to vlog it as well. I am so thrilled that I took part in it, and that I decided to vlog it, because it has made the experience so much richer for me, and I hope you have enjoyed it as well. It felt like we were all part of the experience. I didn't take part in the video challenges. I didn't take part in the Instagram challenges. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. I didn't do the sprints or that kind of stuff. Again, not my thing. But what I did do was the vlogging, and it felt like you were all here. I felt like we were seeing each other every day and we were chatting. And I have to say, you were impeccable house guests. I mean, there were times I didn't even know you were here, but at the same time I did, and it was absolutely lovely. So thank you so much to everybody that watched, to everybody that left comments, and to the fact that I knew you were there, sending me good reading vibes all the time. Also, the comments about Benedict have just really touched both me and the husband so much. We just, how welcome he's been made to feel on BookTube, and it was just lovely. And he, when he has a moment of self-doubt, I've actually gone, oh look what they've said about you here, and how well you've done and your reading and that kind of stuff. So it's been really lovely. So thank you so much for that. Anyway, let's start up with the wrap up. So there were 7 challenges. So I will go through the books that I read and the challenges that there were, and the books that I have decided to put for that challenge. So the first challenge was to read a book with a person on the cover, and I read Sabriel by Garth Nix, which is 367 pages. For the first time ever, I've actually done a page count. So that's my person on the cover. So YA sci-fi, YA fantasy, necromancer. I really enjoyed it. It was written in the 1990s, late 1990s, and because it's fantasy, it doesn't age in that way. But what it does do is I think it would have been a lot more fresher if I'd read it in the 1990s, or if I hadn't have read a lot of fantasy or YA. I think if I was coming to it quite new to the genre, I would absolutely have loved it. It felt like I knew where we were going, and I felt like I knew what the tropes were, and I felt like I knew what the pattern was. But that's only because I've read so much in the genre, not because of how good this. I can understand why people have so much pleasure with this book, so I do recommend it. I think if you've read a lot in the genre, you won't find it as fresh as you could do, but as a new one, as a way into fantasy or a way into the kind of YA fantasy world, absolutely superb. I think it's a really good example of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. I have the second one, which is Lariel, and I will be reading it soon because I enjoyed that one so much. Between the World and Me, read a hyped book, and to read a book with a character that's different than yourself. Well, I'm not doing it as a character, but it's Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me, which is a letter from the author to his, well, it's staged as a letter from the author to his 15-year-old son, talking about racism and how it is written on the black body in America. He grew up, Ta-Nehisi Coates grew up in West Baltimore, and he has one son, and this is the son. He now lives in New York. He is a journalist, and it is that book. I am so grateful for BookTube that got me to read this at the moment. I just think it's one of those books that I could have had on my shelf and kept going, oh yeah, I'll pick that up. Oh yeah, I'll pick that up. But because I wanted to keep it for a readathon, and I read it. And also, because I was vlogging, I had conversations with people. So there have been lots of people that left comments about this book, either their experiences as either black or knowing, living in the society with black friends or black family, or being white in the society and not realising other people's lives that are just along the street from you, or what everybody's how their day-to-day existence can feel so different and can look so different to your own. It's started an awful lot of conversations, this book. I don't think it is perfect. I think there are flaws. However, for such a slim book, it has packed an emotional, powerful punch to me. And I tell you what, there was somebody, Diana left a comment and was saying that about the black the anger in it, because I feel that it's a very rage-filled book, understandably. And she was saying that what she thought was interesting was the fact that as a black man, you are not allowed to express anger because you are seen as, it's seen as unacceptable. It is seen as threatening. You're just being angry about what's happening to yourself is seen as threatening to somebody else. The fact that you are capable of anger is seen as so threatening. So for him to be able to have a book where I can read it as angry and still get so much out of it is so powerful, that he has the voice to do that. There are so many thoughts with this book, and I urge anybody to pick it up and read it. As I say, I think we have to approach it critically. I don't think we can just go, oh, it's perfect. I don't think it is. But it's perfect in the fact it started off conversations, and it started me thinking about what's going on in my community, in my world, what's going on in London, the different parts of the UK and that kind of stuff. And also not just black, but Asian, or how we look at the different races and it's really powerful book. So that was my hyped book, not particularly hyped on BookTube, but hyped on in the media, and with a character or a person very different than myself. So that was what I picked for that. My cover buy, so a book that I bought as a cover buy, was this. So it's G.K. Chesterton. Wow. Now, that's the difference, isn't it? G.K. Chesterton, The Innocence of Father Brown. It's 12 short mysteries featuring Father Brown, who is a shambling, bespectacled priest. This collection was released in 1914, so that tells you about when it was written. Is a cover by. I've got how many others? Four other G.K. Chestertons, and I think I would probably read them as in something like a readathon, because it's been fine reading 2 or 3 a day. I found that they've dated. They really have dated. I read a lot of books set in that period, but I also do read books that were written in that period. And there is a difference. I mean, there's a huge difference, because a modern writer writing for a modern audience is a very different thing. And this was a modern writer writing for his modern audience. And they're short mysteries, which I'm never that thrilled with. They are a very, very mixed bag. And on the whole, I found them very... The tone is quite hysterical, and the characters are drawn with a very broad stroke, and it is very much of its period. So I found that quite interesting, but yes, I think they were written as escapist fiction of that time, and the characters are, as I say, kind of larger than life archetypal hysterics. So it was a very mixed bag. There was probably, out of the 12, perhaps only 2, 3 that I really enjoyed. The others, I either knew what was going to happen, and you could tell that it was written at the same time as kind of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was writing, and there were kind of a lot of crossover between the two of them in the Sherlock short stories. So yeah, so it's a mixed bag, but I was fine. I'm glad I've read it. I still love the book. I will be picking up the others, especially as the editions go on. The volumes that I've got, they came on later, so it's going to be interesting, because I'll see the impact of the First World War on it, and then I'll see the impact of the Between the Wars, and also G.K. Chesterton becomes Roman Catholic as in his lifetime. He converts to Catholicism, so it'll be interesting the fact he was writing about a Catholic priest, and then he actually converts to the religion later in his life. So I'm interested to read those kind of, to see what there is in the stories, whether that comes out more. I reckon they will get a lot more. There'll be a lot more theology in them, which I'm always fascinated about. So there we go. There are lots of thoughts with the book, even though I didn't particularly love it. A book, this was a cover by as well, Persuasion. I listened to this on audio, and the husband bought me this, and it's just, I mean, I loved every second of it. It is my favourite Jane Austen. I mean, I do, I'm listening to Sense and Sensibility at the moment, and by the time I finish that, I'm like, is that my favourite? But no, I don't think so. I think it is. I'm now watching I've got the 2 DVDs, and I'm in the world with Anne Elliot. I'm loving Anne Elliot at the moment. So if you've never tried Persuasion, it's a wonderful piece. It's more acerbic than Pride and Prejudice, and I tend to find that people like Pride and Prejudice when they're younger, and then get into Persuasion perhaps when they're a little bit older, because it is more acerbic. But their romance is still there. It's still gorgeous. A book that I read completely outside was Stefan Zweig's Chess. So it's a short little novella about a chess game that takes place on a cruise ship between New York and Buenos Aires, and I really enjoyed it. I do want to read more of his writing. I really enjoyed it. So this was written in... It was published posthumously in 1942, and I'd be interested to learn more about that. Somebody left me some information about the author, and it's made me want to learn more about him and Austrian writing. I mean, I do enjoy Austrian writing anyway, so I shall look for some more of that. I read a book in the day, and that was The Tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. My son Benedict helped me with that because he read one of the stories. It's glorious. I mean, it's J.K. Rowling. It's Beedle the Bard. They're just glorious fairy tales, and it was lovely to be back in the magical world. And then the last book is to read 7 books, and I didn't get to do that. I read 104 pages of The Beekeeper's Apprentice, Laurie R. King. I have since finished it, so I did read that, and I read 104, but then I stopped it because I didn't want to kind of feel like I had to gallop through it when I was enjoying it so much. So this is the first Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes. So this is an example of a modern author writing for a modern audience. Now, I like Sherlock Holmes books. In fact, I've just realised I've got my illustrated short stories right here. I've got a lovely big compendium of them, and I've read all of them, and I have read his larger novels as well. So I am a fan of Sherlock, but they can be dry. So they're not. So if people are coming to Sherlock, I always think when people come to Arthur Conan Doyle after watching the films, or after watching especially the latest BBC adaptations, they come with an idea of what Sherlock's like, and then when they read the actual text that it's taken from, because it was written it was written for an audience at the time. It was written as some of them were written, to be published sequentially, so they're not written as a novel in a whole, and the modern interpretations of them lose some of their... Sherlock is not a particularly likeable character in some. He isn't warm. It is Dr. Watson who's the warm character. And it is hard sometimes to like him and to feel what his motivation is and that kind of stuff. And so when I picked this up and I thought, I imagined it was going to be as dry as some of those can. I always enjoyed them, but I didn't relish them as much as I thought I would, as I do other greatest detectives kind of thing. So when I picked this up, I thought, okay. But I've forgotten, it's a modern author writing for a modern audience, and so it is a lot lighter. She takes from the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle canon, and there is an expectation, who Sherlock is, and you know who Dr. Watson is, and you know who Mycroft is, and Mrs. Hudson and that kind of stuff. But I think even if you didn't, even you had the most scant knowledge of these things, you would still really, really enjoy them. I found them so much lighter and so much more readable than actually reading Sherlock now. So I really enjoyed this. I surprised myself with how much I enjoyed this, how enjoyable I found it. I didn't find it perfect. I think there are some issues with it. I think it's obviously a modern interpretation of the time, and having read lots of books from that period, i.e. 1914, it's deeply unrealistic. I mean, it's just deeply, deeply... the Mary Russell character, she's not... She is, a young lady in a man's world, but at the same time, I mean, no, it wouldn't happen in that way. However, putting that all aside, as a piece of escapist reading that I flew through, that I enjoyed being in their company, I enjoyed the mystery that take place, and want to carry on reading the series, I completely recommend The Beekeeper's Apprentice, and also this cover. So yeah, so there we go, BookTube, that's it. I thought this would be 5 minutes, but as always, I ramble on. So as I started with this video, did I tell you the pages? Because I said that was 367. Did I tell you that? So I did count up all the pages, and I've got a page total of, dun dun dun, drum roll, 1,325, which is fine. And then I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was thinking, why don't I do page counts? Because they are interesting, and if you're into statistics, that's absolutely grand. But then I thought about it, and I thought, there is no way I can compare those pages with those pages. I just can't. I can't say this page. Now, how much was this? So this was 152, and this was 367. Now, this is not a greater achievement in reading this than this. And the impact of reading 367 pages of this does not compare with the impact of the reading 152 pages of this. So it made me realise, even after I did the page count and I thought about it, and that's not me. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy listening to other people's statistics. But I guess I come to reading in a different way. And I would be really interested in how you feel about those kind of things. I have been cogitating and ruminating on Goodreads and star ratings, because I never give star ratings. And so I might do a whole video on that. But I would hate to be, if you like star ratings, then that's your thing. But I don't particularly use them. So yes, I was thinking about that. So let me know. Let me know how your BookTube went, if you took part in it. There were some other readathons going along. So if you were taking part in any, Elizabeth, I would really love to know how you were doing. And also, what do you think about page counts and all those kind of statistics? I'd be fascinated. Should I think about it a bit more, or star ratings? I don't know. So let me know. Because interesting question coming up at the end there. And there we go, BookTube. What a lovely week I had. That you were there with me was glorious. Let's do this again, BookTube. Bye.